What's up, everyone? We have another rundown show. Joe and I are here talking all things macro, memes, NFTs, AI, just anything related to the Web3 space. Joe, how you doing today, man?
On the roller coaster.
Phew, it's been a wild roller coaster. As always, we're talking about these macro markets and really where we're sitting right now. Let's take a look where we are with the prices. Good old Bitcoin, 85,000. Doesn't feel like we're dying right now. Solana, 130 bucks. Ethereum with a little bit of a bounce back,
Woo.
up 1600. Joe, a lot of these are up like 8, 9, 10% where we talked last week. And I don't remember where the fear and greed meter was last week, but it certainly seems to be in a better spot than it was recently, sitting at a 31. How you feeling overall?
People are more bullish than I am. I think the tariff pause or the electronic pause supposedly that's may happen or may not. Is it happening, Brian?
There was a tariff pause the end of last week or like the weekend, and we pumped and everybody was rallying, art of the deal, Trump's playing everybody, yada, yada, yada. And then just like yesterday, he was like, I was just kidding. All these tariffs are still on. In the market reacted, but I think the overall sentiment there is that we're just kind of like we get hard in the crypto market, we hard and fast. And I just think people are now kind of shrugging off the tariff news. They're like, all right, there's going to be tariffs that are up. There's going to be tariffs that are down. There's actually a bull case here why tariffs are good for Bitcoin. There's a bear case why it's not good for the markets. And I think people are just sick of it. And we're just kind of like chopping and rising a little bit.
You know what's funny? I met some friends yesterday. I was playing basketball and we talked about a little bit about tariffs because who isn't talking about tariffs nowadays? And basically, I was like, oh, we just go back to how we were as kids growing up, which is just basically buy nothing, which is, fine for the Asian community. If you've never been to an Asian household, we have Tupperware made out of tin cans of coffee cans and bins that we've kept for 20 decades. It's not hard for us. We just don't buy anything.
I can get down with that as well, man. I don't, well, my kids are spoiled, but I don't buy a ton of stuff other than like digital currencies, NFTs, wild stuff like that. I would drive the beat up car till the wheels fall off, I feel like. But if there's a new NFT drop, I'm kind of all about it. So we're talking about how the market's kind of becoming a little bit more bullish. Joe, you're right about that. And Big Daddy Michael Saylor, the Giga Chad,
Whew.
obviously the head of MicroStrategy here, they bought another 34.59 amount of Bitcoin between April 7th and the 13th. So just over the past few days for an average of 82,000
Wow.
per Bitcoin, give or take. Uh, I don't hate it. I really don't. Like, we're getting, I mean, I'm a Bitcoin bull, so why would I hate it? There is like that sense of like MicroStrategy's going to own a strong percentage of the actual amount of available Bitcoin over the next few years at this rate. They already do, but they're doubling down. You can't say that they're not bullish on the entire movement of Bitcoin and digital assets.
Yeah, definitely. Just I'm super excited about, people not seeing Bitcoin as the hedge against inflation. And there was actually an article saying, "Oh, where will Bitcoin go from here?" And the answer was if the dollar weakens, which we don't want to do, then Bitcoin's going to see all-time highs. So I like it at these depressed suppressed prices because I get to buy more as always.
Yeah, same, man. And it's definitely seems like I've said this a lot in the show, but it found a little bit of a bottom and it's stabilizing and it's shaking off a lot of this like, everyday news. So there's a lot of other news I'm just gonna breeze through here. The SEC delayed the decision on staking for their ETH NFTs. Yeah, bummer there, thumbs down. I agree with that, but I think that'll happen eventually. An unknown whale, Joe, accumulated about $26 million worth of Ethereum. I'm not exactly sure when that actually happened, but it was recently, just on the 13th, so just a couple days ago. So probably looking okay, but what do they know that we don't know?
You know what? One of our colleagues here, Brendan, made a good point about Ethereum. He said that all the weaknesses of Ethereum is easily fixable, and that wasn't something that I thought would move, Ethereum. So there could be a bull case, man. It's been grinded down so hard these last 4 or 5 years, and if it holds, I can't believe I'm saying this. I might get some Ethereum, bro.
Yeah, it's you have thicker skin there than I do. I still have some Ethereum in place, and I definitely see a case where it could be very bullish to buy Ethereum here. I could also see a case where it continues to lose market share to other blockchains. But people love Ethereum. You know, it's the backbone of a lot of L2s. A lot of developers still building on it. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And then you have all these ETFs. You know, the more I think about it, it does feel like it's a better time to buy it than obviously sell it. And speaking of areas of where you can buy and sell crypto, good old Kraken is now launching a zero
Woo.
commission trading for 11,000 stocks and ETFs
Let's go.
alongside crypto. Tyler nailed it here, and I actually put it in our show notes. Robinhood has a new competitor. It sounds like they want to be Robinhood 2.0, eh?
Yeah, Robinhood was the people's hedge on crypto. Our shout out to our colleague Tivo, who made a big bet on Robinhood and crushed it. So good to see Kraken coming in here and being taking a different route, right? They started crypto and going into regular stocks. Not tradable yet in California. It's only in like 10 states right now. But personally, I'm excited about this because there's no good place to do stocks and crypto. And I have to manually like adjust my portfolio. I would love one place to see it all, to make it very, very easy. And Kraken is going to IPO this year, supposedly. I would love to get in on that. Robinhood needs some competition. So if oh, what are we doing? We're a Web3 rundown. We're talking about TradFi here. But hey, Kraken is a Web3 exchange. So it's okay for us to buy some Kraken if and when they IPO this year, along with Circle. I'm excited about IPOs, man.
How's this all going to look? I mean, are we going to get? I mean, we've been hearing a lot for a little bit of a smoke where there's fire about a lot of these stocks going on chain. Do you think that's
Yeah.
going to be the eventual movement here? Everything's just going to be on chain, stocks, crypto,
slowly
everything.
and sure slowly and surely to compete with crypto because that's why Bitcoin moves so much more volatile, meaning downwards because you can trade it and you can't trade Wall Street stocks on weekends. That's something that Michael Saylor said, like, you're not going to sell your Tesla on the weekends when you hear terrible news. You're going to sell your Bitcoin because you could sell it. And so all that to say that things are slowly coming on chain and there are exchanges or yeah, like Nasdaq. Certain things are applying to be 24/7 traded versus just a 5-day work week.
Very nice. Let's jump in. We're going to talk a little bit about tariffs because this wouldn't be a rundown show without talking about tariffs at this point. Trump's considering pausing some auto tariffs as the world economy endures whiplash. You know, we're up and down with these tariffs. We all know that. I think he paused tariffs on some technology like
Yeah,
certain phones
chips.
and
Yeah.
things, chips, phones. So we're going to see a lot of ebbs and flows here, and just hopefully, like I said, I feel like the crypto market's not reacting as harshly as it was, but there's still a world here where major tariffs, major news comes in, and we see them move down, but also a world where we just kind of chop for a while and then we take some major legs up. At the end of the day, I'm a betting man that Bitcoin's going to be a lot higher than $85,000 then it's going to be then when the next time it's going to be way lower. You know, I think the next moves up are going to be pretty violent. And next, this is tariff news that's bullish about Bitcoin, and
Yeah.
you could argue that Bitcoin and tariffs, make a lot of sense. We were talking last week, I think, on the rundown show where the U.S. even mentioned where the U.S. dollar isn't they don't even want it to be the world's currency anymore. I don't know how true that is, but there was articles being written about that. And you could see something like a Bitcoin take its place. But now Trump's talking that tariff revenue may be a source of buying more Bitcoin. So really interesting stuff. I think he was on with not Trump. Anthony Pompliano was interviewing some people earlier today, and the White House advisor, Bo Hines, said the tariff revenue can help expand the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And Bo also said, we're looking at many creative ways, meaning to add Bitcoin to that strategic Bitcoin reserve. And they've said from day one that they didn't want to increase taxpayer money or taxpayers to buy this Bitcoin. So they want to use alternative routes. And now these tariffs, something that everybody in the Web3 and crypto industry was MFing for a while, because it was causing our bags to go down. Now these tariffs could be a primary source to buying Bitcoin and put it on the SBR. Joe, what's happening here? Do we love tariffs? Do we hate tariffs?
Um, yeah, and no one's a tariff expert. Like I said, I'll go back to my earlier statement. Just don't buy anything, then you'll be fine. So if the Americans probably hate tariffs because we're so consumer centric, right? We buy stuff that we don't need. Where we really wanted to shore up things in the United States was pharmaceuticals, because of the COVID. We were, our reliance was on other countries. So in terms of that, that's where America wants to be stronger, produce domestic goods in those areas. And then chips, right? Nvidia made an announcement that they're going to create AI chips in America. That's why Nvidia shot back up. So there's certain tariffs that make sense, and then certain things that like you see the luxury good thing on TikTok about China exposing all the American luxury goods, like, oh, it's cost us $100 and they're charging you 1,000. Like, you don't need that stuff, right? Like it's those aren't that's not you need life-saving drugs, right? You don't need a Birkin bag, right? It's so funny. These things we all knew, but it's just funny that China's manufacturers are trying to still get business. It's hilarious to me. And you know what? It's probably working. People are probably buying these knockoff bags. They're not really knockoffs, but they just don't have the brand name to it. So that's my thoughts on tariffs. But overall, what more to the point of crypto and how this relates is that with Bo and the pro administration, and it's so crazy that we've yet to see all these effects, all the regulation. Stablecoin Act still isn't out yet, right? Like there's all these things that's coming. For example, I for some reason I didn't know this, but you cannot buy Bitcoin in your 401k. And I've been dying, dying to buy Bitcoin in my 401k. There's going to be so much money coming in once that's allowed. That's crazy. Like you could buy it in your Roth, but you have to
Hmm.
roll it over, and you can roll it over into your IRA, traditional IRA. But then I don't want to do that because there's different implications there. But just that alone makes me so bullish on this pro crypto, administration that's only been less than 90 days. This
I know. They're I can see why the mainstream media just absolutely loves Trump and the administration, meaning like they might not love him as a person, but he's just a content vehicle. Man, we would almost be looking at each other just during these rundowns if we didn't have Trump out here just like throwing news everywhere against the
dude.
wall. I mean, we barely even talked about the Biden administration on the rundown. We were like, yeah, they don't like crypto. Let's look at these meme coins, but it's certainly been interesting. And the last part of the macro I have to talk about, Joe, is Canada, our friends up north. They're releasing a Sol ETF tomorrow. They're approving a spot Solana ETFs for staking. Four Sol ETFs are going to launch this week, and that's going to include staking rewards. This is going to make
Ooh.
Canada the first country to allow staking in a regulated crypto ETF product, and it's good old Solana. Bullish news for Solana, if you ask me.
Wow, can I buy that through my 401k? That's my only question. That's great. Besides lumber, now Canada exports so ETFs with staking options.
Yeah, exactly. And we were a couple weeks ago, we were like wondering if Sol was dead completely. I'm like, Sol's not dead. People still use it for DPIN, blah blah blah. But it does feel like the meme streets are kind of heating back up again a little bit. And we can talk more about that in the meme section, but like stuff like Fartcoin, and we're having a couple new runners every day. So things are definitely starting to open up for Solana.
Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely talk about that. But before we do that, then the world of DeFi, which is a area that I'm loving nowadays, Binance and KuCoin went down due to AWS data outage. So reliance on third-party servers. So in terms of DeFi, well, not really DeFi, but like DePIN, decentralized and physical infrastructure. This is why we need for decentralization because the Binance had to suspend withdrawals, and I'm not sure KuCoin did the same. And these are just things that crypto solves, and I love to see, well, I don't love to see Binance going down or anyone going down, but just use cases for, DeFi that makes sense. Talking about Fartcoin, boom, close to 900. I mean, geez, look at it. Beautiful chart
Perfect.
here.
It's like a cup and handle, dude. It's like coming perfect.
Yeah, is there any reasons that you hear in the streets that Fartcoin is rising? I mean, we know that it's kind of like an indicator, but it's crushing right now.
It's the future of finance, Joe. It's obviously the future of finance. Just tell me what you keep talking about 401k, buying Bitcoin, buying Solana. One of the 401ks get let's buy some Fartcoin.
Right. Well, that's why we are bullish on that, and we've been bullish on that for a while now. So, something else that's happening is I can't believe this is even news, but OpenSea is launching Solana tokens about 3 years later than Magic Eden. And you mentioned something here that they're trying to do what Magic is doing with the recent acquisition. Can you talk about that?
Dude, you can do cross-chain swaps on OpenSea.
Whoa.
Like I didn't even know that was a thing. I heard about it on a couple other shows yesterday or today, and I then went and explored it. And I was talking about with some people in my chat group. You can do these cross-chain swaps, meaning that you could swap from like Ethereum to Solana. It's basically what Magic Eden's trying to do with their
Mm.
acquisition of that Slingshot exchange. If anybody's curious about that, they made a pretty big acquisition just recently with Slingshot so essentially, Magic Eden moving beyond NFTs, getting into the trading game, and then when I started looking into OpenSea and this new, they're having Solana NFTs that are gonna get listed. You're gonna be able to buy Solana meme coins on there, and I found out you can do cross-chain swaps. So it's something personally I have to dive deeper into and probably even talk about within our community because it looks like it's a pretty slick project, and it's almost like OpenSea's like not. They should be talking about that a lot more. That's my point.
Yeah, definitely. If it's seamless, I wouldn't mind trying it out. Like you mentioned, Wayfinder to me, and I saw how seamless it was for you. I think that's the future. Going either on a platform you like and love that will help you do that. Because right now I'm still going on decentralized exchanges to do my swaps, which is fine, right? But I wouldn't mind doing it at a place that I'm utilizing on a daily basis, like OpenSea or Wayfinder or Magic Eden. It just makes something. It just makes it very, very easy. the the next thing on the meme category, I misread this actually. I actually thought it was staking Pengu to earn Pengu. I was so excited, but it's actually Pengu, which is collaborating with Soul Strategies, which is one of the biggest acquirers of Soul staking nodes. So basically, they teamed up with Soul Strategy, and now you can stake Solana on a Pengu validator. Basically, they just
Huh.
kind of bought a validator due to a partnership, which is cool because some people don't even know that they could stake their Solana, right? But you could do it on a Pengu validator. I don't know what that means for Pengu. I actually want them to do what Bonk's doing, which is start a Pengu staking platform. Because Luca's notably talked about burning Pengu whenever he gets tips and whatnot. That would probably push Pengu a little bit higher. But here's what I love of what Pengu's doing is that they're doing stuff. I can't say that about a lot of different projects, but you mentioned to me that you might be buying this area, this zone that Pengu's in right now, right, Brian?
Yeah, it's I'm always saying I'm buying something, I feel like, but that's certainly on my short list of buys here with any extra dry powder I have. Because again I feel like it's found a little bit of a bottom and they're continuing to build, they're continuing to develop, and it's only gonna get better in my opinion. Really, when this blood's been out there over the past couple of weeks, I think it was great to buy some of the coins you have conviction in. And jumping over, let's talk a little bit about the AI space. You mentioned Wayfinder, which is connected to the Prime and the Prompt team. Well, this Prompt, a first initial airdrop finally happened. I think anybody that did those wallet missions, I know we gave a call out to our community. You did some wallet missions, you did some social missions, retweet, watch a video. It didn't take more than 5 minutes. It looked like people got paid pretty nicely off of that. Joe, I didn't get an itemized breakdown because I was staking all my prime for prompt, so it all went into one poll. So I
Mm-hmm.
never really got an accurate read. What did you get just for those wallet missions? Someone told me it was like 300%.
Is it tied to just the amount or the minimum amount that you were had to move into the wallets, or was it tied to your staking Prime?
No, they should be separate.
Separate? Okay, because I linked my accounts, I wasn't sure. So to answer that question, I mean, it's 1,000 is more than 300% because you didn't pay anything. You just moved,
Yeah.
currency in there.
Zero.
So
Yeah.
I got about like so full disclosure, this is very simple. I got $170 off of $60 that I moved over. So that's like exactly 300%, right? Six times three is about 180 bucks. But that doesn't make sense because I didn't use money. I just moved money, right? So you can say it's a 300% APR that I got within, I would like to say, 2 weeks from when you when you told me to do it. So if you want to learn how to make 300% on your money in 2, 3 weeks, well, you missed the opportunity. I mean, I wonder if you did more, would it have been more? That would have been, I don't think so, but that would have been amazing. I would have done like, 20 G's if that was the case.
Yeah, I don't think it was tied to the amount that you deposited, but it was free, it's literally
Free.
free money, free ways to earn crypto. We love that sort of thing. And then anybody caching, there's a little bit of pushback. The first day, we saw a lot of ups and downs with this prompt token. I still think they're in the pole position to be one of the best AI assistants right now. Now they could get bumped off just as easily as MySpace lost the war to Facebook, you know. But right now they have a great team. They're in Web3 gaming. They have great developers, great vision, good money, and their agents are very smooth. And the prompt token got a little FUD at the beginning because they partnered with Cato and the Yaps. So
Hmm.
those Yappers got a lump sum of prompt. And anybody that was caching, you just got your first, I think 28% of what you're going to be distributed.
Oh,
So
okay.
people were like, wait, this guy was tweeting about it and he got two times the amount of me, but I staked. It was a little bit of unnecessary FUD because every week now, if you cached or staked, you can claim your prompt tokens. So we've had one claim, and now every week you can go in there and claim it. And I'm bullish on it. It's on the short list as well. I'm watching the chart pretty closely to see how it's been doing, but I think the FDV is right around like what is the FTV? Right around maybe the FTV 500 million and the market cap's 100 million, something along those lines. So it's performed quite nicely to where we were expecting. And jumping over, let's talk a little bit more about some of this AI stuff. We have NVIDIA is talking about, I think you mentioned this at the beginning of the show, they're going to manufacture American-made AI supercomputers in the US for the first time. And what that their stock bounced off of that news. We liked that news. The market liked it, huh?
Yeah, that definitely is the counter to the tariffs thing. So yeah, people loved it.
Yeah, and then one other pretty interesting piece is that NVIDIA said they're going to do a $500 billion investment into AI in the
Ooh,
United States. So I haven't checked the AI crypto world yet, but I would imagine it's slightly green on that news because any bullish AI news seems to move those nicely. But we have a ways to go. We have a lot of winners, a lot of losers to kind of shake out. But I think what we can take back from a huge investment like this with NVIDIA, how the current administration, its integration with crypto, is that definitely AI and crypto are going to be the future. We're just trying to figure out exactly what the next move is with it.
definitely. Definitely an important topic that we don't cover here because we talk more about crypto, but it definitely has implications because AI with crypto just makes sense. And we're still waiting for, I wouldn't say waiting for clear winners. There's definitely a lot of positions that you could take with AI and crypto. But definitely excited to find kind of like, I wouldn't say the Ethereum of it, but we definitely would want to see those coming up. And we are deep in the woods of that. So definitely stick with us there on that. To round things out, let's go over, some NFT news. This is really interesting because it ended on tax day, but there was a
I know.
person looking to evade taxes. I don't know how he thought he can get away with this. Like he made what, 6 million or 3 to 6 million, something like that, in net profit and didn't pay taxes on it. Whew.
Crypto, I mean, I use a service for it. Then we also have a CPA, but crypto taxes, I'm sure, are confusing for a lot of people. But when you start bringing in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and then if you get up to the millions, you probably really want to evaluate what you're going to owe the tax man at the end of the day. So, if not, you're going to be looking over your shoulder your whole life. Just part of me is just like pay your taxes on it, take your medicine, and move on. But that sucks for everybody involved.
Yeah, everything's on chain, so you can't really hide it for long, right? It's exactly to your point. And right before tax day, was this a wash? Like people tax loss harvesting, but there was some movement in the NFT world. 1,400 other these, which is probably millions of dollars, if not hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, was moved before tax day, which is that today? Tax day is today. Okay. Well, I'm wrong. This would be for 2025. So this wouldn't make sense that it was a move for taxes. This would make sense for a secret. Some people are like, oh, what's going on with Yuga Labs? Are they doing something? But anytime you see movements like this, you kind of scratch your head. I thought it was related to taxes. It still could be. But yeah, any thoughts on the other side? I haven't heard much about Yuga recently. I did know that there are movements though in their metaverse.
Yeah, I saw this on our sheet. it definitely, I don't think it has anything to do with tax day. I think that's just a coincidence because if it was like December 31st, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is a tax move. But these people are getting owe taxes one way or another in the tw year 2025. So I don't understand what's going on here. Hopefully something's gonna get announced. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's give an announcement for the other side gang. Get some things moving with the Yuga Labs. Let's stoke the NFT bull run, the next cycle. Man, I still miss those glory days of the NFT bull run. You know, when it was just like mint after mint was a win. Everybody was talking about it. I became an absolute digital art collector. It's like a nostalgic time. I'm ready for it again.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to some real. Let me show you this meme. I love it. It says NFT founder stepping down after delivering a black hoodie and staking. Who is this guy? You're a golf aficionado.
That's Rory McIlroy. That's where
Okay.
he just won the Masters. He completed the career Grand Slam. This a this a hey, shout out Rory. Hell of a job, man. It was that was one I watched a lot of that golf tournament towards the end and that was Joe, I guess you didn't see it, but it was a
No,
wild golf
I did
tournament
not.
for this guy. Rory had to complete the career Grand Slam. He's been trying to do it for years and years. The weight of the golfing world has been on this guy.
Oh,
Calling him a
wow.
choke artist. He's coming second a handful of times at the Masters and he got it done this week. But on 18, he missed like a 5 footer to win. And everyone's like, he choked again and had to go to a playoff hole. So there was a lot of ups and downs. But hey, shout out to Roars. Great job there.
Hey man, I need that golfing money. I don't know how broke people golf at all. So, but I didn't even know that was the famous golfer. My bad, because I don't follow golfing, but it was just hilarious that this meme about, all the accomplishments that NFT founders is true. Like they're like, oh, I deliver a black hoodie and staking. And I can walk off into the sunset. And that's what I personally believe needs to change for the NFT market to come back is that there actually has to be I don't think it actually has to be utility besides the community because people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to be in good communities, right? But there's definitely, whatever promises were made in the past 3, 4 years. I think a lot of people are more sensitive, that those won't be delivered, and they're really being picky about which NFT projects they join, as they should be, right? So that's why I'm so bullish on Pudgy Penguins because they're doing so much stuff, and there's other NFT projects that are, looking to do the same also. But we'll do a live kind of walkthrough on kind of the market right now, and check this out. I mean, check out Bitcoin shrooms, man, zero point 0.6 Bitcoin. And they just a few months ago, they were selling for one full Bitcoin. So something's happened in the ordinals world. I think one of their dexes got compromised, but that shouldn't push down, a lot of these collections as they had. Is just showing the sentiment that, people are waiting, they're still waiting. And I don't think the founders need to do exactly what I just mentioned. They need to do stuff. They need to deliver stuff, and I think that's why Bitcoin is ordinals has not been moving, as they should because it's not really memeable. It's a lot maybe different NFT projects have more clout and presence. But I'm just showing you what's going on in Bitcoin ordinal space. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on the Bitcoin ordinal space, or I can move on to Ethereum, Brian.
Click that USD button real quick. Let me see it in the price of USD. Just looking, man. The ordinals are, I mean, max ordinal fun. Remember that just a year ago? It was just such a wild time. It made so much sense, but they've taken such a big hit. But there's still some really cool projects out there, but I don't think I'm a buyer of any of these ordinals right now, personally.
Yeah, and runes get absolutely demolished too. 100 foot. The leading token is like less than a 50th tier meme coin and so on. It's pretty brutal out there in the Bitcoin
Yeah.
world. The spillover from the Bitcoin high times unfortunately did not spill over into the digital assets. They should come back once Bitcoin hits, euphoria, which hasn't happened. But art for sure I foresee definitely having value because it's on chain, right?
Yeah.
That's what they should scream, like on chain, and that's kind of what on chain monkeys is doing, and not really much else. No one else is really kind of drive that forward. Let's take a look at Ethereum NFTs.
Yeah.
If you watch this far, you definitely are into the weeds of Web3 like we are. We're not buying a Peggy today. It's back up at 15,600. We 3,000, $2,500 more than last week or whatever it was. We could have made some profit right there, Brian. We got in with fiat. So it just goes to show how fickle this market is. And, and I've done this too. During the dog days of NFTs, like if you just know a NFT project intimately well and the ebbs and flows and who's the buyers and whatnot, you can do really, 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 really well. I made a lot of money on golf in NFT, just because I knew that intimately. So making 3,000 in 1 week is not something to sneeze at if you knew about Pudgy Penguins NFTs.
Yeah, that was an interesting call as well. I mean I love the Pudgy Penguins NFTs, but not a buyer right now. Looking for another leg.
Yeah, that's pretty much it on the NFT news. Let me see if I had anything else on there. No, that's it. I mean, it will definitely keep you posted because me and Brian, unfortunately, we love and are addicted to NFTs. I just minted Final Bosu last week, and I'm actually up 100% on that, believe it or not. Let me see where
That's
is that
nice.
today.
Cool
Boom. Yeah.
cool project. I think their public mint was yesterday, right?
Yeah, they minted the plugins yesterday. They're non-reviewed yet. Let me just share it real quickly. And yeah, I bought it for point 0.9s at 0.173. Not bad. Not a bad should I sell it, right?
I like the Final Bosu. That's the anime of Abstract and Kevin, their founder, and I think it's a cool project. I mean, I don't know. It depends how crazy you want to get. But some of these abstract ones are doing okay. Like On-Chain
Yeah,
Genesis Heroes are
it's great.
0.399. They're doing okay. Ryu, I think Ryu announced something recently. Bearish. You've always been a big fan of Bearish. I think you own it. I think you're up on your Bearish
I
buy too.
do. Yeah, I'm up a
Yeah.
little bit on bearish, but I really bought it just because of the community. They're really doing amazing partnerships with AI, and that's something I like.
Yeah, it does feel like some of these abstract NFTs, they might not be just these huge winners to 0 to 100, but they seem like they're holding their floors pretty nicely and also increasing. So something, if you're definitely interested in NFTs, I would take a look at a lot of the different chains. It's not just Ethereum anymore.
No, no, definitely not. Yeah, that wraps it up for the world of NFTs. Yeah, what else do we have to wrap up with? We went over so much today.
Yeah, I don't have much more, man. I appreciate you jumping on. Appreciate everybody in the audience checking it out today. It's been a lot of fun and it feels like I guess the overall message from my point of view, it feels like the markets are not as reactionary as it's been over the past few days or past couple of weeks. And I think that's good. We're kind of just chopping, we're building that hard outer shell, and then we're gonna break through hopefully uh June, July, sometime there. I'm really fingers crossed that something happens here.
Hey, next week some crazy announcement is going to come out, and I can't wait to talk about it. I'm excited. Join us in our private community if you want insight on what we're trading, staking, yield farming. We're doing all that stuff right now and still making some yield. So great times in there, great vibes. We chat up every day in there. People ask great questions, and we got a great podcast for you guys too if you want to join us. So until next time, guys, we'll see you on the next one.